Hey y'all. So this is going to be day 7 of that 7-day challenge from surviving to thriving. I truly hope you guys have enjoyed those messages. They're messages that are still ministering to me. Now, at some point in time, I'm going to go and rewatch all of them again just to see if I can get something new. If you know how God moves and how he works, you can listen to one video 50 times to get 50 different messages, because God speaks to you differently based off your circumstances, based off what you're going through, based on who you're attached to. He's going to meet you where you are. He's going to meet you where you are. So, yeah, I've truly enjoyed this. But for this last episode, this one, I hope I don't get emotional about it, but I was just thinking, I was just taking a shower and I was just thinking about some stuff, and I started thinking about my best friend. Now, in the last episode, I believe, or the episode before, I told you guys about how God made me the promise of marrying my best friend October 5th, 2021, and he released me from that promise once in April of 2025 and then again in September of 2025. And so I was just recounting our journey, and honestly, I was thinking about how I was kind of comparing him and my ex to each other, not in a bad way, but just thinking about the things that both of them have done for me, the things and the healing that I have gotten with both of them, right? And I want to reiterate this, or I've said this before, but it was a while ago. I could never dismiss who that man was in my life, my best friend. I could never dismiss it, because the woman that I am today is because of him and because he allowed God to use him. He didn't know that he was allowing God to use him. I didn't know that God was using him, but I would not be the woman that I am had it not been from him. We don't talk anymore. I may not feel the same way, but I would be a liar. I would be completely wrong to just dismiss every role that he played in my life. He was a father figure to my son. He was a safe space for me at one point in time. He was comfort when I needed it. He was the sound of reasoning when I needed it. Like, he played a lot of different roles in my life, and despite where we are now, I could never take that away. And I feel like sometimes when I speak on him, I'm very quick to say, yeah, if God want me with him, I'll be with him. But right now I don't talk to him and I'm cool with that. I'd be real quick to say that. And it's true, but it just put me in a space of, you have to humble yourself, because I wasn't always like this. And I used to be really, really in love with that man. I would have died for him at any point. I would have hurt somebody for him at any point. I genuinely was super in love with him. I loved that man so bad that it hurt. I loved him. And I dealt with a lot of different things. Like, I had to watch him be in a relationship with somebody else, a long-term relationship with somebody else. And I had to still be his friend and give him advice on how he should do with her, as if it was me. So I had to give him genuine advice, like the things that I would want him to do for me if I was in that situation. I had to talk to him about his girlfriend in that way. And I had to defend her sometimes just so he could understand her position in life. And that hurt me. I would get off the phone and cry, because I'm like, this is the love of my life, and I'm coaching him on how to be in a relationship with somebody else. But that's what God called me to do, and I did it because I love God. And yeah, it hurt to love him that way. And at some point in time, you know how they say women walk away mentally and emotionally first before they walk away physically. I had walked away already mentally and emotionally before God had dismissed me in April. But I loved him. I wanted everything with him. And I feel like it's important to say that, because too many people, when they get out of their situations and when they get out of environments or get away from people they were once attached to, they get that pride and that ego, and they act like where they came from is not where they came from. They act like who they was attached to, or the former life that they lived, was not them. And I know in the Bible it says forget the former things. Absolutely, absolutely forget the former things. But I feel like there's a level of humility you have to have in it. You can't forget it so much so that you could look down on the people who are still living that life or who are still experiencing the things that you have overcome. You can't forget it so much so that you get to throw your new version and throw your new life in people's face as if you did not come from where you came from. You can't forget it so much so that when God calls you to reach your hand back down to grab somebody else up from the same neighborhood or from a different neighborhood, but God is calling for you who is in a higher position to look back and pull somebody up. You can't forget the former things so much so that you look at them like, I ain't helping you. You better do what I did. You better go through what I went through. You can't forget the former things so much so that you are doing all of that. You still have to remember that you came from humble beginnings, and you still have to humble yourself. You still have to be humble. I cannot dismiss that man in the role that he played in my life, because I promise you, there wasn't a man who had the patience to deal with me and still be kind the way that he did. Even my ex now did not have the patience or the grace to deal with me back in 2020, 2021, when I became close with my best friend, 2020. My ex, I had just stopped sleeping with him. No, I was still messing around with him. But he didn't have the patience and the grace to deal with me. He didn't have the expertise. He was still kid like himself. He didn't have it. And I wasn't dealing with men who were respectful even when they were angry with me like my best friend was. I was dealing with men who would get mad at me and call me the B word or call me out my name or disrespect me. My best friend didn't do any of that. My best friend never disrespected me, even when I disrespected him. My best friend never cursed me out, even when I cursed at him. My best friend never talked to me any type of way. Now, he said some things that I didn't like. And he has, I shouldn't say he hasn't cursed at me. He hasn't cursed me out, because there are 2 times, or I do recall, he cursed at me. But no. But I say all that to say, the way he was with me, there was not a man around who was able to be like that. You get what I'm saying? There was not a man around who gave me the safe space to grow into the woman that I am. I was not, y'all, I never forget, and I said this before, I've said this several times, but just to show y'all where I was with it, I never forget, I'm talking to my best friend on the phone, and we talking about something. And I said something to him. He said, dang, why you gotta be mean like that? You don't gotta be mean to me. You could be nice to me. And I said, why I gotta be nice to you? You ain't my N-word. You ain't my man. And I forgot what he responded. But after that, that's when God started working on me. Right after that encounter, that's when God started working on me. You don't have to be nice to just your man. You can be nice to other people who are not your man, who you are not sleeping with, you are not getting anything from. You can be a nice person. Y'all, I used to be one of those people who, if you was too jolly in me, I'm just, in my face, I'm just looking at you like, what you got to be happy for? Now, y'all, I'm one of those people, hey, how are you today? Hey, have a blessed day. Y'all, that's me. That's how I be in the stores. That's how I be in public, in the parking lot, not just to the cashiers, y'all, in the parking lot to random people, just making conversation. I never was like that before. Now I'm the type of person, I used to be the type of person who would, I didn't have many friends. I didn't value people. Now I'm the type of person, I make a friend everywhere I go, unintentionally. I still don't be trying to make friends, but I make friends the way that I do now because my personality calls it in. Like me, I don't intentionally be trying to talk to nobody, but my personality and my smile and the way I make people feel invites them in. Just today, I be in the grocery store. If I see somebody looking for something too long, you want me to help you find that? What you looking for? Oh, it's down here. I don't work there at all. But I'm taking this person because I realized that they needed help. I would never, matter of fact, before, when I did work in the grocery store, I would try to run from you if you were looking for help. I would try to avoid you. Complete opposite. And I grew to be like this and hit in an environment that he cultivated. I grew to become this woman in an environment where he poured into me and he watered me when I didn't have anybody watering me. So to discredit him now because I don't feel the same way would be crazy. And it would be false. And so I want everybody to look at this in certain environments that God has called you out of. And, you know, you might have lived in the hood. You might have grew up in the hood and God called you from that. And you a big shot wherever you are now. And you still got people in the hood and stuff like that. But you came from there. You was the same. You lived the same type of life as them. I'm not saying you got to go back to living like that, but I'm saying be humble. That's where you started. Your new life does not erase what you have experienced and the life that you lived before that. And again, I'm very aware that God says, forget the former things. I'm very aware of that. Very aware. And in no way am I trying to distort his message or change it or anything like that. This is why you guys are invited to take this message back to God, because I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what God just dropped on me. I'm telling you what God just told me. Don't be so quick to dismiss this person just because you no longer deal with them, because you wouldn't be who you are without them. Don't be so quick to dismiss this environment that you just came from, because you would not be who you are and you would not be where you are had you not come from that. A lot of the things that we face and we experience, we only know how to get out of it because we were in it. David is a fine warrior. You know why? Because he fought. He wouldn't be a warrior if he was never in battle. He wouldn't be a warrior if he was never the person who led an army. But he fought and he earned that title to say that he's a warrior. So these things that you go through, they are what make you you. These things that you have experienced, they are what make you you. The good, the bad, the ugly. You don't get to just look at the good and act like the bad and the ugly hasn't happened. If it weren't, y'all, I was robbed at gunpoint when I worked for CVS twice. February 15th, 2025, and then again on March 7th, 2025. 30 days from each other. The first one, I got robbed in one store. That was the scariest one because it was the first. He was the first customer. He was in the all black snowsuit. He came straight in holding the gun up. And as the manager is trying to type the codes in when he makes us go to the office, he's holding the gun on me while I'm putting the money in the bag. And then he leads us to the bathroom and he makes us sit in the bathroom on the floor. Guess what? That scared me. I was scared of the dark for weeks. I don't have my phone on vibrate because sometimes loud sounds startle me. I used to have panic attacks. I remember I was at school, Georgia State, and I was walking on the street and the GSU bus, the Panther bus, it had like that little back shot thing, that noise that it makes. And I think I screamed right there in the middle of the thing. And I got scared. I was scared of the dark for weeks. But that has made me a very hyper aware. In the second robbery, I never saw the guy's gun. But it was a customer that I felt he was weird. He kept getting in and out of the line. Kept getting in and out. And for me, he was a black man. And I didn't want to stereotype him. So, because the first guy was black, I found out later he was black. But this guy was black too, and I didn't want to stereotype him, but I knew something wasn't right. He kept getting in that line. And he finally got in the line, and he raised his shirt up as if he had a gun. He raised his shirt up as if he had a gun. And I just remember giving him the money and then calling my manager on the phone and saying, we just got robbed. So both of those things really, really scarred me, right? And I have PTSD. But I am the most hyper-aware person that I know. I pay attention to people. I pay attention to things. Whenever I go into restaurants, I'm always trying to sit facing the doors so I can see the doors. I don't like sitting with my back against the doors. I'm just very hyper-aware. And I want to say it even saved me from getting robbed again, because there was this one night in 2017. I went out late. I was living in a hotel and I went out to go wash my clothes, but I needed to get some money from the ATM. So I went to Wells Fargo ATM, and I'm behind this one car, and I'm just waiting for the guy, but I'm looking around, very hyper aware now, looking around, and I see this car pull in, and when they pull in, they flash their headlights, and I'm like, what are they flashing their headlights? There's an all black car that's sitting back up against the brick wall, no lights on. No lights on. So I don't remember what car got behind me, but one of the cars got behind me. And I'm getting my card out, but I'm looking. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror. And I just see the man sitting there staring at me. I go on. I don't even worry about washing clothes. I don't know what would have happened, but I know I paid attention to my surroundings. I didn't like how I felt, and I left. I don't allow somebody to, I don't give nobody the benefit of the doubt. Sorry. I don't give people the benefit of the doubt, because giving you the benefit of the doubt could cost me my life. Could cost me my son's life. So I'm very hyper aware. I pay attention. At any given time, I can know when somebody is doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. One time we was in Walmart, and it was me, my mom, and my son. And my son at this time, he might have been 5. He's not holding nobody's hand. He's just walking. But there's this man who every aisle we go on, he following us, but he don't have nothing in his hands. He just going in the aisles, looking at stuff, picking it up. Soon as we leave the aisle, I see him coming around us. And he just doing it. He don't have nothing. We done went down 5 aisles. He done came down 5 aisles with us and don't have nothing. And then in one aisle, because I'm so aware in what he's doing, I see him mess around, take his phone out. I can't remember if he took a picture of these 2 girls or if he was just texting. I think he took a picture and was looking at them, and I saw him texting, and I had enough for me to go to the women and say, hey, I want y'all to be careful, because he is doing something that I think is weird. And I want y'all to just know, y'all be careful. Don't be, you know what I'm saying? Don't pay attention. Look out for each other. And they was like, thank you. But I say all that to say, like, my experience, do I enjoy the fact that I was robbed at gunpoint twice? No. But do I enjoy the woman that it has made me? Yes. I'm not a naive woman. I'm not a woman who goes around not paying attention to her surroundings. I'm paying attention not just for me, but for everybody. I ain't looking out just for me. I'm looking out for everybody. I'm planning to play a superhero for everybody. So, you know, I say all that to say, like, the bad experiences, even sometimes when I talk about, like, my childhood and how I experienced my mom, y'all have no clue how much I love kids. I love kids. I love kids. I would hurt you about your child. I would hurt you about somebody else's child. No question asked. No hesitation. I might not have liked my childhood, but I enjoy being a protective mother and a protective mothering figure that I am. So, you know, when we be so quick to dismiss our encounters or dismiss our experiences with people or with situations, I want you to remember to be humble, because if it wasn't for that bad thing, you would not be where you are. You would not have the wisdom that you have. You would not have the level of awareness that you have. You would not have certain desires that you have. Me going through certain things have increased my desire for other things. So yeah, I hope that word ministers to you, because again, like I said, I'm not trying to rewrite God's scripture at all. I just want to remind us that as we're forgetting the former things, you don't want to forget it so much so that you forget that that's where you started, and God may call you back to help somebody. You don't want to get too big and mighty. You don't want to get, because God will humble you. Better read Daniel and see what happened to Nebuchadnezzar. You better read about these kings who got too high and mighty, and they saying, oh, I did this for myself. God didn't do this. I did this for myself. And you see where they ended up at? Don't play. So yeah, no, I'm not trying to rewrite history or rewrite the scriptures or anything, but I'm just letting you know, like, the experiences that you've experienced, the things that you learned while you were in the survival mode is why you are able to thrive, because you can do things differently. If you didn't mess up before, how would you know to do right now? If you didn't mess up on your money before, if you didn't mess up in your finances before, how would you know how to budget now? How would you know how to use a credit card now? How would you know to pay your bills on time and to maybe possibly pay more so that you can pay more on principal and less on interest, and you can pay off the loan sooner? If you did not go through that before, if you did not experience a headache and do the research and ask the questions, you wouldn't know. For instance, with me, with my car loan, at one point in time, like, I did not understand why more money was going to interest, and I did some research and I started asking questions, and I realized I didn't like it, so I started paying more. But I had to be pissed off first in order for me to know. Sometimes the knowledge that just drops on you when you ain't ready for it, it just passes you. But then you go through an experience that aggravates you or really shifts your life, shifts the trajectory of your life, and it puts you in a position where you are now different and you can handle things differently. But you can't act like that experience did not happen, because if it did not happen, you wouldn't know what you know. You wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't be where you are. So that's all I'm saying. That is going to conclude this series of from 7-Day Challenge of From Surviving to Thriving. Of course, if God gives me something else, then I'm going to come back. But I hope you guys enjoy these. I enjoyed making them. I love you guys, and I will see y'all on the next one.